Yep. Good morning, everyone. So last session we learned about data types Boolean. So in the JavaScript data types, we discussed how to handle number, string, and Boolean. These three data types we learned. So JavaScript data types, we have a number type, we have a string type, and we have an Boolean. These three examples we learned. So how to convert a string into number? So to convert a string into number, we have methods like parse int and parse float, right? Suppose, so the question here is how to convert a numeric string, a numeric string into number. How to convert that? For that, we have an option. What is it? Parse int. We can use parse float. We can use parse int and parse float. That is string. Now, another question is how to convert a number into string. How we can convert a number into string? Actually, to convert a number into string, JavaScript have a method called toString. ToString will convert any number into a string format. That means var x equal to 10, it's a number. If you want to convert into string, then what you have to do? So x dot toString. This will convert that x into string. So you can convert number to string and you can convert string to number. So because many times why the question is why to convert a number to string? You have to convert a number to string to apply some string formats. String formats like we want to put a currency symbol. Currency symbol, if you put, it is not a number. It is what type? String. That means you want to display in a currency form or some other characters you want to display. Then you have to do that by converting into string. So number to string, string to number. Now another question here is how to convert a string into Boolean. Why we need to convert a string into Boolean is actually sometimes when we use checked like options. What happens is checked, read only, disabled. Last session I explained that they are all Boolean types. Generally, how you put checked, true, false, read only, true, false. Usually in HTML, we write in string only. That means generally, how do we do? Actually, in general HTML, suppose we say input type is equal to checkbox. We have actually a checked property which will be true or false. This checked true is written in double quotes. It's a string. It is a string. That means it returns in a string form. Now, generally when you submit this, it will submit as string, not as Boolean. Then we have to convert this string into Boolean. How do we do that? There is no method for that. There is no method. We have to manually convert. So how do we manually convert? We have to write a condition like, suppose you see where x equal to true. True is in quotes. That means it is string. We have to convert into Boolean. And we will store in y. We have to convert into Boolean true and store in y. Then how do we write is like this? We write an expression. So I'm using a ternary operator. Ternary operator, that means question mark x is equal to what? True. If x equal to true, then we will put true. Otherwise, we will put false. This is conversion of string to Boolean. That means now if x is equal to true, true means string true. If it is string true, then it will store which one? Boolean true into y. It will store Boolean true into y. If you directly store this into y, it is string, it is not Boolean. I will show you. Let's see here. Suppose we are dealing with Boolean. Suppose I said some program.html. And here observe carefully where x equal to, so true, this is string. Now I want to convert into Boolean and store in y. If I put x, y equal to x, then it is both are string type only. Let's see the data type. Document.write. To know the data types, you can try like this. To know what is the data type, you can use, so x is, you can write type of x. In the next line, y is, so you can write type of y. Type of is an operator which is used to know the data type. Is data type string or number or Boolean? We can know the types by using type of. Now you see here, when I run this, it is going to display that here x and y both are string types. X is string, y is string. Now I want to convert this x into number, Boolean. Then what we do is we write an expression here. So x equal to true, then what should happen? Question mark, we have to put true. Otherwise we have to put false. Now you can see that x is string, but y is Boolean. So we are converting a string into Boolean. If you want to convert a Boolean to string, so toString is same everywhere. So if you want to convert anything to string, then you have to use what? toString. So this is actually how you convert any type into a Boolean, right? This is one example actually you need to know, right? This is a simple example, how you convert by using string to Boolean. This situation will come so many times because later when you are submitting data to any server, then you designed a form, and from the form you are collecting the data, and form contains radios checkboxes. They will not return Boolean true false. They will return what? String true false. Then when you directly store that in database, it will store as string true. We need to convert into what type? Boolean. For that, we need to understand this, right? So working with the data types and knowing how to convert them, right, into various formats, that's important. Why we need these kind of conversions? Because JavaScript, if it is using anything from HTML, by default, every property value comes in a string form only. We have to manually convert and handle that, right? This is converting of types. Next important, after knowing how do we convert the types, we need to know another option. So is undefined type. Undefined type. So in JavaScript data types, number, string, boolean. Another undefined also a type. What is undefined? Undefined is important. Undefined is nothing but it specifies that there is no value defined in a reference. There is no value defined in a reference. For example, so if you say var x and you try to print document.write, you try to print x. Suppose you write like x equal to plus x, then it returns x is equal to undefined. Undefined means there is no value inside x. So x is not having any value. If it is not having any value, it will not have any default value. Sometimes what happens is some technologies, when we declare integer x, then they will put default 0. If you put string x, they will put empty string. But here it is not like that. So if you don't define any value in a variable, you don't assign or you don't initialize, by default what is present inside it? Undefined. That means it is marked as undefined. So actually, technically speaking, undefined is a marker that marks the variable to specify that there is no value defined. That's what actually undefined. So if value is not there, then it is going to return undefined. Now here what you can do is you can use undefined keyword. You can use undefined keyword to verify the value in any reference. You can use undefined keyword to verify the value in any reference. That means whether value there or not, we can verify by using this. For example, you see here, I am declaring. So here let's declare. So var name is equal to some name, Samsung TV. And here var price not there with any value. Document.write, we are printing the details. So we are printing name. What is the name? We are accessing name. In the next line, we are printing price. And what is the price? And we are accessing the price. But actually, there is no price value. If there is no price value, it will not show any error. What compiler will do? If you declared any variable and you don't mention any value inside it, then it will keep it as what? Undefined. So here you can see it will show that undefined, price is undefined. Now in many interviews, they ask this question: why JavaScript puts undefined if there is no value? Why JavaScript puts undefined? Why it will not be empty? Why JavaScript puts undefined in any variable? Why it is not treated as empty? What do you think? What do you think? It is returning data type. So yeah, that is why, that is the question we are asking, that if a value is not assigned, Why it is assigning undefined? If value is not assigned, why it is assigning undefined? Any term you can remember? Can assign type of value. Actually, why it will put undefined? Because JavaScript is implicitly typed. Remember this word? Implicitly typed. That means what implicitly typed means? Implicitly typed means what? Implicitly typed means the data type will be determined according to the value assigned. Implicitly typed means the data type will be decided according to the value assigned. That is what we call implicitly typed. I told you now it is not strongly typed. It is implicitly typed. JavaScript is not strongly typed. JavaScript is implicitly typed. If JavaScript is implicitly typed, for every variable, the data type is determined according to the value assigned. If you don't assign value, then data type is undefined. The data type is undefined. So if you don't define any value in an implicitly typed language, then by default, it will take it as what? Undefined. So what should be your answer if anyone asks like, so why it returns undefined? So that means the question here is, why JavaScript sets undefined into a variable. So why it sets undefined into a variable? Why? Because the answer is, so as it is implicitly typed. As it is implicitly typed, it requires a data type to determine according to value assigned. And if value is not assigned, then it is undefined. If value is not assigned, that means it is undefined. Undefined for what? It is undefined data type. Understood? That means data type is not defined. Value is not assigned means data type is not defined. That means it indicates that it is an undefined type. So we can verify whether defined or not. So what we want to do is, we don't want to print any variable which is undefined. That means if any variable is undefined, we don't want to print. Then we can simply put a logic here. What is the logic here? So here we can write a condition. The condition is, so if price is equal to undefined, then print only name. So that means I will write like this condition. If price is equal to, you have to use the keyword undefined. If price is equal to undefined means there is no price. Then document.write, we will print only name. Name is equal to whatever name is. Otherwise, if it is not undefined, means if it is defined. So document.write, we will print name and price. Name is equal to plus name. We will print both of them. We will print name, whatever the name is there. So name. And in the next line, we will print price is equal to whatever price is there. That's what we are doing. That means if price is not defined, then it will not print, only name. If price is defined, that means it is assigned with some value or initialized with some value. Automatically, it is going to display that price. Going to display the price. If it is not defined, then it will not display. So how to verify whether it is defined or not? There is another technique. This is example. There is another technique, so which developers use regularly. Actually, this is okay. This is okay, but this is not good. This is not good. That means actually, which is not good here. This kind of condition is not good. That means verifying with undefined is not good. That means actually any programming language, remember, we should not verify with alternative. We should not verify with alternative. That means if a value is returning true or false, will you verify false? So we have to always verify true, right? Now the question is how to verify it is defined or not. Now another question, how to verify value defined. How to verify value defined. How to verify value not defined? We have to use undefined. How to verify value defined? How to verify value defined? How to verify value not defined? That's okay, right? So how to verify type of anything else? How to verify defined? So the best way to verify define, just you have to use if and just reference name. That's it. That's it. This, if you define this, that means it is going to just verify. That means if you just give the reference name to if condition, what if condition is going to do is it is going to verify is there a value or not. This indicates value defined. That means if condition will execute the statement only when value is defined. Value is defined. So you can write in this way now. How you can do? You can write simply if price. What does this means? Means price is having a value if it is defined. If it is defined, then document dot write. We can print. So we can print name, whatever name is there. And in the next line, we want to print price and whatever price is there. We want to define this. Otherwise, else, that means if it is not defined, then don't print price. We have to print what? Only name. We have to print only name. This is also same concept. I refresh, it is printing both. If price is not defined with any value, then it will not print it. Suppose I given 0, 0 is defined, means it is what type? Number type, right? It will print it. It will print price is so 0. But you can see here, this is not taking that 0. Why it is not taking 0? Because this returns false. You are writing a condition. Condition means it is verifying only what defined or not. So that means actually it is using a logic called not undefined. Understood? It is using not undefined. So that is the reason. So if I entered some 10 as a value, now it will print. Now it is going to print. So we can use this technique. This is good. So if you don't want to handle even 0 also, then better you use undefined. You verify using undefined. If you are using defined, then 0 is treated as what? It is treated as defined, undefined. Undefined. It is not defined with a value. That means, for example, you are defining, then it will display that value. So this is very important technique. So actually, we recommend this to do. So we don't recommend to use the keyword undefined, right? So, but in a situation where you want to handle only undefined, then you can check by using undefined keyword. Undefined keyword. This is another question, how you can handle that, right? These are important things you should know. What is undefined type, right? Now in interviews, they ask one more question is here another question they ask is, what is difference between undefined, undefined and not defined? Are both same? Both are not same. What is undefined? What is not defined? What do you say? Undefined means there is no value, right? Then what is not defined? So not defined indicates that there is no variable at all. There is no reference at all. That means actually, so the point undefined verifies the type, and not defined verifies the reference. So if value is not defined, type is not defined. If the reference is not defined, then it will return not defined. That means, for example, suppose we are not having price at all. Price is not there. Price is not there. You are comparing price. Then you can see here in the error when you inspect in the console, you can see in the console it says is not defined. What is meant by undefined? Undefined means price is there, but there is no value. Not defined means what? Price not there, and you are trying to use it. That is what actually we call as not defined. This is another example. So this is another example for that, how we can handle. In this case, what happens here? Price not defined. Undefined and not defined are little different. Undefined indicates that value is not there. Not defined indicates that reference is not there. So we can verify the reference and we can verify the values, right? By using undefined and not defined. So that is very important. This is about undefined type. So what is undefined type and how do we handle undefined type? Now, one more important here is, so here is in another option type, So we have another data type called null type. We have another type called null. Actually, null indicates that there is no value. Then what is defined? What is difference between undefined and null? Null means there is no value. Already I showed this in prompt concept. When we learned about confirm returns true, false. What prompt returns? Prompt have OK, cancel. When you click OK, prompt will return value. If you don't enter any value, it will not return null. It will return empty only. Then what is null and empty? What is difference between undefined and null? The difference between undefined and null. What do you say? So what it is? Null is undefined is also value not there. Na? Undefined is also value not there. Then what is difference? Null is also value not there. What is difference? Actually, so undefined is configured by JavaScript. For any reference. If value is not found during compile time. While compiling, if there is no value into that particular variable, then it will configure it as what? Undefined. So null is configured by JavaScript. For any reference. If value is not found during runtime, not compile time, this is runtime. That is actually null is related to exception. It is related to exception. Exception means that occurs during runtime. Later exception handling we will learn about that. But exception means that occurs during what time? Exception means that occurs during runtime. That means if a value is expected and it is not supplied at the time of compiling, then compiler will put undefined into that particular variable. But if you tell compiler that during runtime we will take value, then compile time, what it will do? It will put undefined, but when runtime, it will verify null. That means compile time is undefined, runtime is null. That means at runtime, a value is expected and you don't supply. Then it will contain null. For example, see, what we are doing here is name and price. Suppose I'm giving here, I'm giving some price. Okay. Into price, document dot write. So we are entering details. Price is equal to, so whatever price is, we are defining like this. Now when I run this, you can see price is undefined, because this is at compile time, it is expecting some value into it. But I am saying that price we will take from prompt. Enter price. Like this we are saying. We are saying that price we will take from prompt. Prompt means JavaScript understands that, okay, they are going to take value during runtime. When they are trying to take a value during runtime, and you see now what happens. At runtime, it is expecting value. You click OK without value. That is empty, not null. Empty means a blank value. That means in blank also a value. Empty space, blank space. A blank space will be stored. So you can see price is blank. A blank space is stored. But if I click cancel, cancel means you are not even supplying a blank value. You are canceling. That means there is no value. But is it during runtime or compile time? It is runtime. At runtime, if value is not supplied into price, then it will return null. It is going to return null, not undefined. Undefined is during only compile time. And runtime, if you are expecting value, then you have to use null. So null is an exception that occurs during runtime. So if value is not supplied, it will return null. So generally we write like this now. How do we write here? Condition. If price is equal to null, we have to use the keyword null. If price is equal to null, then what should happen? If price is equal to null, then we will use a simple message, document dot write, right? We will say, so please provide price, right? And otherwise, if it is not equal to null, then we will print price. That means price is equal to some whatever price they entered. There can be one more condition. One more condition is, it can be empty. They can be empty. So that means I will write another condition, else if is what? Else if is price is equal to empty string. You are expecting empty. If it is empty, then what should happen? So then we will put an alert, or we will put alert, or document dot write. We will say that price cannot be empty. So that's what we are defining. So here, price cannot be empty. Null means, you cancelled, then it will return null. That means now we are running this. I click OK, then it says price cannot be empty. That means I submitted price, but I submitted empty. I am canceling means I am not submitting price. Then it will say you cancel. Please provide price. That is how technically we can handle. This is basically done. So by using null type. So null is used to verify whether the value is provided into a particular reference or not during which time runtime. So what is empty, what is null, and what is undefined? These are the three basic things, right? Undefined means So there is no value defined. Empty means the value is defined that, but it is blank. That is blank. Null means, yeah, there is no value supplied into any reference, during which time? Runtime. Compile time is undefined, runtime is null. This is important. This is another type you need to understand. So number, string, boolean, null, and undefined. Next important, in JavaScript latest version, they introduced a type called symbol type. Symbol type. That means in JavaScript, they introduced another type called symbol. Actually, JavaScript introduced symbol type from ES6 onwards. From ES6. Actually, JavaScript earlier JavaScript uses symbol type implicitly. Internally it uses, but they made it for a public use from ES6 version. That means before ES6 also symbol type is there, but it is not known to all developers. That means it's not provided to all developers openly. Internally it is used. Architects, people who design JavaScript architecture, those people use it internally. What is this symbol type and why you need symbol type? What is the concept, right? I will tell one simple example here. So in HTML, let's take one example. Suppose in HTML, so we are designing a form. We are creating a form. In the form, actually this form is related to edit user details. Edit user details is the form. Actually, we are giving details like data term, username, and a text box. Input type is equal to text. Name is equal to username. Okay. Another data term is some age, and input type is equal to some number, and name is equal to what? Age. I kept a button here and submit. Now what happens is, this is edit form. Edit form means we must edit the user details. Actually, in the database, what happens is, in the database, that means we have database. In the database, what happens is, here in the database, we have details like user ID, name, and age. Now user ID is primary key. Primary key means it is used for inserting, deleting, updating the details into that. And remember, now what they have done is, they given a query like this. Generally what we do is, we have update command, update name and age, where user ID is matching with that ID, something. Now the point here is, here in the form, what details are there? Name and age. You are submitting name and you are submitting age. But where is user ID? Then without submitting user ID, how it will edit that user ID details? So you have to submit user ID. But this user ID, we don't want to show in the form. That user ID should not be displayed in the form, but it should be used by the form. Because user ID cannot be edited. So nobody should see user ID. But user ID should be used in the background. How? That is the general requirement. That means in a form, we want to provide some details for editing. In that, one is primary key. That primary key is compulsory to submit. You have to submit. You have to submit the primary key. But user should not able to see it. So without showing, how you will submit? Everybody understood the point now? Because generally what happens when user is editing account details, they will not allow you to edit all details. For example, you visited a website, some Aadhaar card, and user can edit Aadhaar card details. And in that Aadhaar card details, they will give a chance like you can edit your name 2 times maximum. You can edit your address 2 times maximum. You can edit your age 1 time maximum. Date of birth 1 time maximum. You cannot edit your Aadhaar number. Once it is taken, it is finished. But based on that number only, your details are edited. But we don't want to show whose number details we are editing, because security important. But we should submit that card number. Without showing Aadhaar card number, we have to submit Aadhaar card number. That is general concept actually. How you do that? Generally, for that what we do is, actually here we will use in forms, we use a input type as hidden. There is a hidden type. In HTML, we have a hidden type. In this hidden type, we will put name as what? User ID. And value of user ID will be some John _ NIT. That is user ID. Now, when I run this form, you will observe that when I run the form, in the form only username and age is there. Your username and age is present. I entered username John, age is 22, and I submit that form. When I submit, in the URL, user ID is submitted. User ID, username, age, 3 details submitted. But in the form, there are only 2 details. Now, how this extra detail is handled? Because user should not see it, but it should be used. Because without sending whose user details you want to edit, that user ID name is important. Without sending user ID, you cannot edit. So you have to send user ID, but you should not show user ID in the form. User ID should not be displayed. He cannot modify, but it should be submitted. Then for that, which technique we use that? So we use this technique. What is the technique? So we use the technique of hidden. Now, what is the point here? We are defining a unique key for identifying any record. That unique key must be used, but it should not be displayed. When collectively you are accessing, it should not be displayed, but it should be used. It should be used. Actually, that is symbol. So it is used. It is used to configure a unique identification key. Identification key for objects. We haven't learned about objects. Later you will learn. Actually, symbol is related to objects. That for an object. What is an object you will learn later. Actually, object actually contains like this. Object contains username, key, under that some value. It contains comma, it contains age, colon. Age is this. This is an object of JavaScript which you will learn later. Right? Symbol is related to objects. So now in this object, I want one field which must be hidden. Means if anybody tries to read all properties, it should not display. But it should be there and it should be independently used, but it should not be available. That means what happens now? Here we can create, that means symbol configures a hidden field in object. Hidden field in object, which is not displayed, or you can simply say that hidden field in an object means what? Hidden field in an object means which is present in object, but not used by iterators. It is not used by iterators. What is iterator? Actually, iterator is used to access all properties of object. That means iterator is used to access all properties of an object. When it is using all properties of an object, reading all properties of an object, the hidden fields are not accessed. The hidden fields are not allowed. That means they are ignored. That means a field is present, but it is not displayed. Displayed when? Displayed in iterations. But when it is independently you want to use, it is available. If you want to use independently, it is available. Directly, it is not available. I will show you that. But actually for this, you need to learn objects. Later, we will learn detailedly about objects. As of now, just see. Suppose what I am doing here, let's go and see. I'll give this example. So this example is, this is for HTML hidden field, hidden input. This is HTML hidden input, right? Now I will show you the example for the symbol here. Let's see. I am writing here a simple script. In the script, I am creating an object called user details. It's an object. Object means it contains a block. In that you have username, colon, username is some John, comma, we have age. Age is some 22, like this. And we want to read all properties. Then I am using for, where property in user details. This is an iterator. Later in objects you will learn, don't worry. As of now, what is for in? For in is used to read all properties of an object. If you want to read all the properties of an object, you have to use which operator? For in. Now let's print the property. Document.write. I am printing the property. I'm just printing the property. Line break. Now you can see that it is going to print all the properties here. What properties are coming? Username, age. You can print all the values also. Later you will learn, not required as of now. You can print all values, but I want one more property in such a way that it must be there, but it should not be used. You can print value also. How to print value colon? I will put here user details of property. User details of property will print their values also. Username and this. This is an JavaScript object. Now what I will do is, here I am giving user ID as some John_NIT. Now if I write like this, it is available. Everybody can see. But it should be there, but it should not be visible. Then how? So what you can do is, we can create user ID as a symbol is equal to symbol. User ID is a symbol. Then how to use symbols in an object? In a square brace, you have to write user ID. User ID. What should be its value? Its value will be John_NIT. That is how we define. Now what happens when I refresh here? When I refresh here, only username and age will come. But actually user ID is present. If you want, you can individually read. How to individually read? Let's do one thing. I will write separately document dot. What is it? User details. Suppose I will say user ID. Yeah? User ID. I will access how? User details of, what is it? User ID. I'm accessing user details dot user ID. That means here user ID is there. User ID is individually accessible, but in iteration it is not showing. That means in the iteration you can see it is hidden. If you want independently, you can access it. Independently you can access and use it. So what is the advantage of this symbol? It creates hidden fields. Those hidden fields are able to store some data and use the data, but they will be ignored in the iterators. So this is actually used internally by JavaScript. JavaScript uses internally this kind of technique in various purposes. But now what the JavaScript architects people done is, they made this available to general developers also. That means this is not a new invention actually. It is already there. Symbol is already there in JavaScript, but developers don't know about it who are learning JavaScript. Developers who are responsible for building JavaScript, means who created JavaScript, they know this symbol. In the browser architecture, symbol is present. But general outside public developers don't know that. They made it available and visible to general developers also from ES6. So from ES6 onwards, our developers also can use it to create such context, right? This is actually related to object. Later you will learn about object. But as of now, what is the type of user ID? User ID is what type? Symbol type. Symbol type. So that means, for example, I am printing here. So BR, okay. I am printing here document.write. So type of what? User ID. Type of user ID. That means we are trying to return. It is symbol type. Its data type is a symbol type. So symbol is used for creating such options. So this is the symbol type. And it is very important while working with objects. So what is input type hidden in HTML? What is input type hidden in HTML? Input type hidden is it configures a field that contains data and that data is submitted, but it is not displayed. It is not displayed. So displayed where? It is not displayed in the page, but it is submitted in the background. Now tell me one point. Tell me how to create, how to configure a field which can display value on screen, but will not submit. Currently, it is not displaying, but it is submitting. It can display on screen, but it should not submit. Tell me how. Any field can display value, but it cannot submit that value. How? How you can display value, but you cannot submit the value? So there are so many points. One is you can put value in any labels, so they are not submitted. Labels will not submit. That is the basic thing. That means I want to show user ID, but I don't want to submit. That means here we are creating a form. So let's create the previous one. Let me copy that. Suppose you see in this example, here I will change this to input type is text. Input type is text. That means actually it will display that. And it is what I will give as, so I will give that as data term. Data term is user ID. Data definition is text box. That means now what happens here, the user name. Suppose user ID is some David, admin something. So name is David and age is some age. And okay, submit. You can see it is submitting that. I don't want to submit that user ID. Then actually so many techniques are there. Instead of keeping it as an input type, here you can keep it as a label. Actually label means you have to keep the label value. Label value means here we have to keep the value. So John underscore what NIT. That means a label can display the value, but it is not submitted. Right? That means you are submitting the details. So you are submitting the details. Something like this, we are submitting details. And username is some John, user age is this, only username and this are submitted. That is label. But there is another technique. What you can do, you can make it as what? Input type is what? Text. And it is having name and value. And I hope you people know that you can give this option. That means if you make it as disabled, then what happens is when you make it disabled, then I am entering some John and age, and you can see only those are submitted. User ID is not submitted. I entered some David and some age, and you can see username is submitted. User ID is not submitted. That means you can do that by using what? Disabled. So we can configure that by using disabled. Actually, there are so many techniques to do that. So answer. So we have so many options. First one is if name is not defined, defined for any field. Name is not defined for any field in a form, then it cannot submit. That means, in form, every field must have a name. If name is not there, it cannot submit. Another, if a field is not in form, then it cannot submit. That is another basic point. That means field can be submitted only when it is present inside form. If it is not present inside form, then it cannot submit. Right? It can submit only when it is inside the form. Now another option, if a field is disabled, then it cannot submit. That is the option. So if anyone asks, like, field must be submitted, but it cannot be modified. Then obviously you will use read only. Read only means what? Read only means the value is there. You cannot modify it, but you can submit. That is difference actually. So this is one technique. So syntactically we write like this: input type is equal to what? Text. Name is equal to some user ID, and value is equal to John _ NIT, and we say disabled. So it is not submitted. If I give read only, then it is visible, it is submitted, but you cannot modify that. That is very important, how you can manage. This is all the data types, symbol type. So what is a symbol type? Symbol type configures a field for defining unique references. And what is the advantage of any field which is configured as symbol? Any field which is configured as symbol is not taken in iterators, but it is available. You can individually use, but they are skipped in iterations. That means when anybody is writing iterations, through iterations, reading all elements, then whatever marked with symbol will be hidden. They will not be displayed. Independently you can access. Just by using the property name, right? Yeah. So these are all under the category of what type? Primitive types. How we can deal with the primitive types. JavaScript primitive types. Now once you know these primitive types, now we will go into another, that is JavaScript non-primitive types. Non-primitive types, we have an array, objects, maps, how to work with them. That we'll see in next session. Tomorrow we will do that, right? So these are all what data types? Primitive data types. Now what are non-primitive types? These are very big one. Every non-primitive type is huge. Lot of concepts are there. Those we will learn about the non-primitive types in the next session. Tomorrow we will do that, right? In tomorrow's session, we will discuss what are non-primitive types and how to handle them. Arrays, objects and all. Actually, symbol is related to object. Later, when you learn about object, you can get more detailed example on that, right? This is enough to understand, right? I hope it is clear, right? Then we will go into non-primitive types tomorrow. Then we can try some examples with the non-primitive types, primitive types combination. We will see some examples, right? Tomorrow we'll see.